We see that formation reasonably commonly now, but don't often see two teams squaring off from kickoff in that sort of lineup.
When we do see it, sometimes they can cancel each other out for a little while. There's Jonro going back to Shushnya, who's been outstanding on the left side of that back three, and Milligan looking more at home in a back three as well. Socceroos legend. Here's Jovanovic on the right side of it. Shushnya, a stylish passer on that left. Jake Holman finding Benyat. Here's Puyo. Holman's continued his run here. Never let it bounce. Good communication from Jamie Young.
Good forward run from Jake Holman. He's involved in the start of that play on halfway, and then very purposeful run into the penalty area. The pass from the Frenchman, Loic Puyo, just overhit.
Corey Brown's had an outstanding season. Only Alessandro Diamanti and Neil Kilkenny have provided more assists this season. Brisbane's left back. Deflection spotted off Akbari there. Corey Brown thought it was his throw. February 9, Macarthur FC went up to Brisbane. It's a tough game for so long. Jonro broke the deadlock late. Derbyshire scored a sensational sealer. And since then, Brisbane have really struggled. The absence of Scott McDonald hasn't helped either, and he's again out of the equation tonight. A little nudge from Aldred. Tonight's referee, Ali Fagani, blowing his whistle. Shushnya back to Benyat, right through the middle they go, and Holman trying to get around Scott Neville, who defended it expertly.
Brisbane with trouble keeping the ball, which is going to irritate the coach. So I'm sure he doesn't want to have to go into the dressing room and make the same speech again, because their second halves have been pretty bubbly, Brisbane. In recent weeks, they've left themselves with too much to do.
Yeah, Warramoon was filthy with the first 20 minutes against Western Sydney. Lucky not to be more than 1-0 down chasing that game, but in the second half, all the chances they created, they felt like they should have picked up 3 points at Redcliffe. Milligan searching for the run, and he's found the target, has he? Not quite. It's a brilliant run by Liam Rose, trying to get in behind. He's played 70-odd games in the A-League, Liam Rose. A lot of those with the Mariners, of course, as a defensive midfielder. Showed good endeavour. And now the long-range strike from Loic Puyo.
Well, it's pretty still out there at the moment, actually, but you could be forgiven for thinking there's quite a stiff breeze gusting behind Macarthur. That shot from Puyo just was always sailing high. A couple of their passes into the penalty area, like the wind had caught them, except that there is no breeze, particularly at the moment. So they've just lost their range. Macarthur from good starting positions as well, it should be said.
Jack Barry might be able to get Joey Champness involved. Went back to Brown instead, as Macarthur got across in good numbers to try and contain Champness, and then the pass behind him. Little nutmeg from Benyat. Brisbane can regroup through Akbari. For more on the conditions, let's get down to Mark Bosnich.
Yeah, good evening, Brenton. Good evening, Harps, and to everyone watching wherever they may be around the world. I'll just make sure before I start giving the conditions out that take this attack, Brenton.
Champness, no way around Rose, whipped in by Gillespie, and hooked clear by Holman.
Yeah, thanks, gentlemen. It's 20 degrees Celsius. It's obviously got a little bit cool and clear. And on that wind, Harps, the wind's coming from the south-southeast, so right to left as we're watching it here. It's actually picked up to about 20 kilometres an hour. So it's before the game, it started off quite slight, but it's actually picked up. It's a little bit stiff, so I can understand Puyol taking that strike from distance.
It's an amazing phenomenon that the flags are barely moving, but the wind is whipping through from right to left, as Bozza explained. Tough to judge it from behind the glass windows up here, Harps.
Well, New South Wales is expecting, or the high country at least, is expecting the first dusting of snow in the next 24 hours. So that's a measure of the coolness that's coming through. Macarthur have started well. Brisbane penned in, keeping the ball nicely. The final delivery hasn't quite been made to measure yet from Ante Milicic's team.
Won their past 3 home games in a row by an aggregate of 8 goals to 1 against Adelaide United, Western United and the Perth Glory, after being winless in their first 4 games at this venue. Right footer and lefty over this set piece. Shushnya and Jovanovic, obvious threats with their heights at the back post here. Benyard is looking for them. Jovanovic left all alone, and Ali Fagani has seen a lot of football in his time, and he sensed an illegal block there from Shushnya, I fancy.
Well, they set that up, Macarthur, and the refs pinged him. But he's allowed to stand and be a nuisance, is Shushnya.
Well, this should be onside now that the defenders played at it, and the assistant put the flag up and the referee responded. I thought that would, once the defender played at it there, Andy, it might be play on. Anyway, let's go back to the original one.
Well, Shushnya has been pinged for leaving an arm sort of hanging. He barely impeded Josh Brindle-South, but enough for the ref to decide that attack has to stop. The offside one was an interesting call, Speedy. I'm with you. Once the defenders played at it.
Yeah, if Shushnya didn't hug Brindle-South, put his arms around him, then it's okay. But next time around, he won't, and it might still open up for Jovanovic.
Well, the worry for Brisbane defensively is that Jovanovic was able to get safe free. Let's see if they can measure up a bit better next time defensively from a set piece, Brisbane.
Wenzel Halls struggling to get into the game. Presents here, all the way through to Danzaki. Kept in by Wenzel Halls. He's got just 1 goal in his past 8, but remains Brisbane's top scorer this season with 6. Benyard already influential in the opening 10 minutes. Macarthur's number 4. Receives again from Genre. Milligan for Derbyshire. No one getting close to the English striker. Gillespie looking long, and Federici to come outside of his area. And this will be offside against Joey Champness. That is a clear decision, but what about the earlier one? Harps, what's your understanding?
Well, offside when the ball is played, but as soon as the defenders played at the ball, all bets are off, I thought.
I'm with you. Flag could have gone down, and Brisbane might have been away. One-on-one situation brewing. He's vastly experienced, Andre Chiev, running the near side. Shushnya, first time. Cut out by Gillespie. Really solid looking back three for Brisbane tonight. Here's Wenzel Halls. And the shot sneaks its way in at the near post. And Dylan Wenzel Halls, back in the starting lineup, makes a statement with his first chance of the evening. Celebrates in front of the bullpen, if you don't mind. Not many can beat Federici from that range this season.
Well, not many have beaten Federici from any range. A slight question about the legality, offside, onside. It was close, but he had enough time running across the edge of the penalty area. Macarthur couldn't break from their position and close him down, and he's pierced the space that was available to the near post. Adam Federici's clearance with his feet was a little lackadaisical, it should be said, and played Brisbane in. Wenzel Halls with a half-a-sided goal, and he gives his team the lead.
Sums up the cheeky attitude that this guy plays with, that he celebrates in front of the home fans' active area, and goes to 7 for the season, unless VAR weighs in. Adam Federici and the Bulls are hoping so, and they're just checking. Goal stands, and Brisbane fans can celebrate as much as they want now after holding their breath for a little while there. But Archie Thompson, that was a superb finish.
Yeah, outstanding. And what I was talking about in the pre-game was that, you know, he's not afraid to shoot from anywhere. And you could just see that one of the back three was out of place and left him one-on-one with Mark Milligan. And, you know, he just gets himself a yard of space. And, you know, Millsy tries to close it down, but goes through his legs. And once it goes through his legs, it's obviously really difficult for a goalkeeper to stop. But if he was lacking confidence, he's surely got it back now.
An unfamiliar position for the Bulls in recent times. Falling behind here at Campbelltown. Holman with space to utilise. Rose cutting it back to Jake Holman. This ball cut out by Gillespie. Made a really sprightly start, the visitors. Plenty of chat out there as well. The organisation, hands being pointed everywhere, but here's one to deal with, and Jamie Young keeps it away from Derbyshire and looks early for Wenzel Halls, who forced Milligan into a difficult situation for a moment and then let him off.
Landed awkwardly on the ball there, Mark Milligan. Wenzel Halls had no idea this ball was coming. Didn't look at or for the quick release from Jamie Young, and then it had bounced and made a nuisance of himself in the end, and Milligan's landed heavily on this ball.
Difficult to work out where he's done the damage. But, he stayed down and asked for treatment. 35 years young, Mark Milligan. Andy Harper talking about the ball being an issue at the end of all this.
Maybe not. I thought he'd landed out his midriff, but he's clearly a little game of stuck in the mud with the ball. Let's hope he's okay. Team needs him.
Looks like he's made a decent recovery. It will soon be 11 on 11 again after Federici takes the free kick. O'Shea lost possession. And Puyol immediately looking forward. It's Tommy Orr taking on Brindle South, who gives up the corner. Tommy Orr remains Brisbane's youngest ever scorer. 4 days after his 17th birthday on debut, he scored his first A-League goal and played 53 games for the Raw before heading overseas. Benyard to swing it in. Breeze an issue here. And at that near post, unable to flick it on, was Derbyshire. It's another poor giveaway. Benyard just overhitting it for Puyol. That was a chance after the turnover in the defensive third by Brisbane.
It's a great opportunity for Macarthur. And again, in that final third, when it's counted, they've overhit their touch. Pass. Benyard read that beautifully. Nothing came of it.
If you were to say who's been the most informed player for Macarthur FC in recent times, Markel Shushaeta would be right in the conversation. He's a big miss tonight. This guy is trying to make the most of his opportunity. Holman. And Scott Neville won't get the free kick there. Holman threw his head back as though he'd given away the free kick, but perhaps upset not to do more damage.
Well, there's not much of a protest from Scott Neville either. And so the corner for Macarthur.
Puyol whips it in. Brave header by Aldred. Still alive. But must be called upon to clear.
Well, Tommy Aldred's being more voluble. In his protest, he was clattered into big time. And it was a pretty impressive volley by Sushnjar in the back post there. Blocked by a Brisbane defender.
Long down the line by Gillespie, brought down by Jovanovic. Benyard with time to survey the options. So used to seeing him in concert with Shushaeta. Neville wanted a better shout from Jamie Young there. They talk it over afterwards. They've been out of the loop for a while with Scott Neville returning from India in recent times.
That was a big volley. Corey Gillespie was the player who blocked it. It was a clear foul on Tom Aldred, edge of the box. Clash of the Titans, most certainly, but it was a foul on the Brisbane skipper.
Warren Moon has been lamenting his side wasting so many chances this season. They've capitalised on an early one here and are playing from in front. In desperate need of 3 points, Mark Bosnich. It's an ideal start for the visitors.
Absolutely fantastic start. And we heard him in the pre-game saying basically he thought Ante Milicic, in a real cheeky type of manner, thought he pulled the wool over Brisbane's eyes in their opening encounter. Well, I think they've done the same here. It was basically all Macarthur at the beginning, and only the first attack. And let this go through again. For that man again, Wenzel Hawes. And Archie Thompson had spoken quite at length about Wenzel Hawes in the pre-game, about his shooting prowess. And it was an excellent shot. The thing to watch out for as well, and Archie did make that point, when Milligan, and that's any defender, when they open their legs like that, I can understand it, he's trying to like block the shot, but sometimes it's better just to stay where you are because the goalkeeper's on the other side. Once you open your legs when the opposition's taking a strike, it can go either side. It's really off-putting for a goalkeeper because 9 times out of 10 Federici would expect to save that.
Yeah, the class players produce that kind of finish, don't they? Diego Castro, it's one of his specialties, pulling it back to the near post and surprising the goalkeeper. And through the legs of a defender, just adds that extra element. Here's Benyard. Holman trying to bounce it back. Gillespie's been heavily involved with his defensive clearances already. Back from suspension. Great ball in. Holman just relaxed on the finish. Should really have buried it.
It came to him quick. He's a very talented young player, certainly has the technique to deal with this, but the positive part of this for Macarthur is that finally they got a delivery into the danger zone of meaning, and Holman on another day might have finished that. It was a tough one, came quickly, and he was running at a decent clip as well. Macarthur's first real chance, and that's because it's the first time they've been able to deliver the ball with any sort of quality. They've been in that vicinity plenty of occasions already in the opening 20 minutes, but haven't been able to find such a delivery.
There's the two inclusions combining there. Wonderful ball in by Liam Rose in that unfamiliar role. Holman still in search of his first A-League goal. Here's again. Lovely touch into space. Derbyshire had made a decent run there. Puyol went for another option. Puyol through the legs of Wenzel Halls. Brisbane with that flat back five defensively. Still space for Derbyshire. Headed off by Aldred. Macarthur trying to pull this Brisbane defence apart. And he stopped running because he thought he was offside. Did Benyat. So a quarter of the game gone. Brisbane looking for their 5th win of the season. They did win 4 games in a row at one stage and were flying high, but came into tonight 8th on the ladder, 5 points out of the 6. Clever header down by Wenzel Halls to O'Shea, and he's on his bike again here. So too is Danzaki, who's tricked his way around, and just a little shirt ball on Shushnia. Saw the assistant weigh in.
Sorry, gentlemen, just a quick one on the Bulls bullpen, where their most active supporters are. Somebody's just come up and told me that a lot of the dark blue shirts are to signify Autism Awareness Week. So that's what the blue shirts are all for.
And Macarthur FC also wearing black armbands tonight. Part owner Roy Mamone lost his brother Giuseppe on Good Friday. So our condolences to the family. Nice little link up between Jonro and Benyat. And Derbyshire's pass wasn't the best little layoff for Holman, but it was an intricate move before that.
Yeah, they're in good touch, particularly making really good passage through midfield. Macarthur. They can just recalibrate the final pass. They'll be back square on the scoreboard before you know it.
Jonro, what a run. Plays in Derbyshire. Aldred had to let him go, and in the end he gets back to make a very effective block. He's an imposing figure at the back.
Well, Matty Derbyshire is just coughing some verbal from Denny Jonro for not cutting the ball back to him on the edge of the penalty area. They did have players in support, good numbers getting forward, Macarthur. And Derbyshire was just lacked that little bit of awareness.
Now Holman in behind Neville. Little nibble from Neville, but the ball went Brisbane's way, so optimistic cries for a penalty fall on deaf ears. Benyat, Holman, wonderful skill and awareness to find the ball. And Orr's delivery, cut out by Gillespie. Danzaki had to be careful, edge of the area against Benyat, played it well. Counter-attack is on. Akbari works an angle to Wenzel Halls, who's got Champness on the other side. It squirms away off Milligan. The assistant will say, yes, it is your truth.
What a great chance. What a great chance for Brisbane. Akbari just played that perfectly through midfield. Here's Jake Holman doing his best as well. There's a clear win from Neville, and the break was a good one. And Wenzel Halls just not concentrating. Really, in the end, it was a great opportunity on the counter for Brisbane. But he switched off for that millisecond, and Milligan nicked in.
VAR still looking to see whether Neville's win was clean at the other end, and Andy Harper needed 1 look. VAR needed about 3, but we got the right decision in the end.
Are you hearing things that I'm not, Sweetie? Because I had no idea that was being referred to by the VAR.
I can read the mind of Ali Fagani. Sean Evans back in the VAR centre tonight, according to the team sheet. Corey Brown. Champness has been quiet so far. Stays onside here. And then a little stumble from Joey C. Corey Brown whips in a great ball, though, and Shushnya had to put it out for the corner.
Well, it worked out in the end well. Danzaki versus Shushnya, who'd always back the Macarthur defender. It's Corey Brown's most telling contribution. His distribution so far this evening has been poor. He dropped one on the spot then, did Corey.
Second in the league for creating chances this season, Corey Brown. A lot of them due to wicked delivery from set pieces like this. The in-swinger for the lefty. Brisbane player goes down. That was Aldred, but the ball was never threatening to get that far. Lifted back in by Brindle South. Neville's header dealt with by Shushnya. And Gillespie, well, it worked out in the end as he chested it down to O'Shea. Threatened to get awkward for a moment. Gillespie bending one around the corner and very nearly found Wenzel Halls. Well defended by Milligan. John Rowe has space. The cowbells ring out. Easy read by Akbari. Brilliant work in midfield again. Danzaki got stuck on it. Brindle South can work it around the corner to Wenzel Halls. Takes on the strike, and he's called upon again, Adam Federici, to make the save.
Oh, that was a good save. At the stretch, Akbari, expert midfield play again. Read it magnificently, and it looked like the attack was going to lose momentum. Danzaki out wide to Brindle South. There's a delightful little ball in behind there. And the space found by Wenzel Halls, who shoots on instinct and forces a good save.
Ali Fagani getting on top of the holding going on. Jovanovic has received his warning. Don't hold down Tom Aldred or you threaten giving up a spot kick. Whipped in by O'Shea, and it is to those two. Aldred on the follow-up earns another corner.
Good reflexes from Mark Milligan as the header came down quickly to his feet. Nice from O'Shea. Aldred in between. Terrific little reaction there from Mark Milligan. And then Jovanovic blocking the follow-up shot from the Brisbane skipper. Seeing the trouble away for the time being. Have Macarthur.
VAR had another little look. Brown, better looking delivery. Skims off a head or two, and goal kick is being given. Early ball out by Federici to Puyo, who didn't have a whole lot of support around him. Young drove it low. Cut out by Benyat. Gillespie's having a storming start to this game. Wenzel Halls just drifts in behind and the flag stays down. Proving a real handful with his speed, but that time he jumped the gun. And why, oh why, do we stop play for a free kick and blow the whistle? One day, my rants will prompt a change for the A-League referees department. Just let it go. Let it go in that situation, because the advantage has accrued to Macarthur. And the game is better for it if you let the game flow. The balls were filthy to be called back. Ball was out of play before All struck it. One back by Holman. Benyat. Turned away from Wenzel Halls. Lovely pass into the stride of Puyo. And they lost their assignment on the Frenchman, linking up well with Rose. who earns another corner. They're coming thick and fast here at Campbelltown.
They are. It's been that type of game. There's plenty of speed in the game. Big intent to attack. Brisbane on the back of the lead they've taken through Wenzel Hall's goal have been a more forceful proposition.
In-swinger, near post, and Derbyshire got on the end of things again. Brown just clipping one towards Wenzel Halls. Milligan put a body on him. Macaulay Gillespie last season in 26 games picked up 1 yellow card. He's already found 5 yellow cards in a red this season. So discipline has dropped off a little. But, in superb form tonight. Here's Brindle South. Danzaki, middle 1-2. Filling the void of Jack Hingett nicely tonight is Josh Brindle South. His 4th start of the campaign. Tried the little flick over the shoulder to Danzaki. One back by O'Shea. Wenzel Hall's on the move again. Here's Gillespie. Loves shooting from this kind of range. And had Federici scrambling.
They're looking good, Brisbane. And they're just looking that little bit sharper, a little faster across the ground. They're recovering ground defensively really well. And when they get in the front half of the field, they're making it more difficult for Macarthur to play out. From Macarthur's viewpoint, they've won plenty of possession in the front half of the field, but haven't really been able to turn that into Gilthead's chances.
Right through the middle, Wenzel Hall's onside. And the strike, a tame one in the end.
Oh, that's a big let-off. Big let-off for Macarthur. Again, it's Macarthur struggling with the speed of the Brisbane play and the Brisbane players. Wenzel Hall's, geez, you threw on goal like that.
This time he's offside. I thought the flag stayed down. He then committed a foul. And we play on this time. Jamie Young can step up.
And definitely pin back Macarthur. You notice when they get the ball, which they're about to have now, these transition moments, but they're really finding it hard, increasingly difficult to turn those turnovers into something positive. Brisbane are really the spring in their step at the moment.
Guile in the pass from Mark Milligan, allowed Holman to turn. Tommy Orr providing the width. Whipped in towards Puyol. Again, they're outnumbered in the middle. Ball giveaway. Counter-attack is on again here. Champness with his speed. But Milligan stopped the ball getting through to him. They look so vulnerable in the transition moments, Macarthur.
And they've turned it over again.
And here he is, Wenzel Halls. Lifts it over the top and spurns a glorious chance. He had so much time to work out what kind of finish to go with.
Well, the goal he scored was a good one, but he's had 3 other moments. It's a brilliant chance. 3 other moments when he just hasn't concentrated enough. Brisbane should at least have 2. And this young flyer, so exciting to watch, their top scorer, back to the starting lineup with the goal, and he might have had another one, and certainly on a couple of occasions should have tested the Macarthur goal. It's another turnover. Macarthur can't get the ball. They're being overrun at the moment.
Archie Thompson, Dylan Wenzel Halls could have a hat-trick by now. How many do you think he should have?
Well, look, I think he got himself into a really great position there. But, look, he did everything right there because Federici was sort of caught in no man's land. And if I was in that position as a striker, I'd be looking to dink him because, you know, if you take a touch, it almost closes down that space. But I think it was just a heavy, too much of a heavy, almost relaxed finish, which you could tell that, you know, if you're not really focused, you're not going to score in those sort of situations. We saw it with Liam Rose up the other end. You know, he got him. No, not sorry, Liam Rose. Jake Holman. He got almost too relaxed, and he instead of being more focused in that position, and you know, he skies it. But I would have done exactly the same thing in that position that you know, Wenzel Hall was in.
Genre able to turn. Holman, lovely idea. Derbyshire couldn't keep his shot down on the half volley.
Brilliant from Jake Holman. And the ball just always running away from Derbyshire, who's at full stretch, couldn't control it. Over the shoulder. Look at that. He had a quick look. Fantastic scanning from Jake Holman to drop that first time to Derbyshire, who at full stretch couldn't control the effort.
Scorer of 10 goals this season, second only to Jamie McLaren in the race for that golden boot. Matt Derbyshire. Nice hands by the fourth official, Stephen Lucas, preventing any damage to the VAR screen. And then hands it over to the lackey just to straighten it up. Here's Champness. Danzaki was the target. Benyat able to go square to Tommy Orr. Holman playing as well as any ball at the moment. Benyat lifting one, but it's tough to lift the ball over Macaulay Gillespie.
And it's quite instructive to see the worry that Macarthur have about the pace of the Brisbane players, that it's Denny John Rowe who's the deepest lying midfielder the vast majority of time, because they're so worried about Brisbane on the transition. Obviously all season we've seen Benyat be the one who gets the ball off the defence the vast majority of times and just patrols that area in front of the back three. But it's John Rowe tonight because of the concern they have of how quick Brisbane are in transition.
And the other manifestation of that, Boz, is how deep Tommy Orr and
Milligan on the run.
Liam Rose as wing-backs, their starting position. They're not bombing forward at all. They've not yet really got beyond Brindle South on this side or Corey Brown on the other.
That's 100% true about Tommy Orr. He just made a cross, probably was about 3 minutes ago, and Archie and I down here will say that was the first cross that he's had of the whole game thus far. If you have a look at the attacking average attacking positions of the Macarthur Bulls side, everything pretty much has gone down the right-hand side. Like I said, it's so instructive because with the three up front, three speedsters, those three centre-backs of Macarthur are pretty much taken up all the time. And they're so worried about that. That's why they've got Jean Rowe as that spare man so he can come back, because they obviously think he's more mobile than Benyat. But I think that they're suffering from their passing a little bit, because we know it's Benyat who really usually starts everything like a conductor.
Here he is dropping into that role now, Benyat.
And the million-dollar question is the function of the way the game's developed, because Macarthur haven't passed the ball well. Or were they worried about the speed from the start? If so, why is Lockie Rose on the bench and not playing out on the right flank to give them that extra speed?
Picked the wrong Rose, according to Andy Harper. And there'll be plenty nodding on their couches at home. A real speedster up and down the flank, Lockie Rose. But Ante Milicic has given Liam Rose his first game time in a couple of months as a starter. Puyo! Well wide.
That's a nice effort. The building block for Loic Puyo. It's only an issue, the lack of speed, if you keep turning the ball over, which has been their problem. I think the focus will be, rather than on necessarily talking about finding some fast players, is let's get back to our game and stop mishitting our passes.
Brisbane are causing Macarthur headaches, but they're doing it largely without Joey Champness, who was untouchable the other night after half-time against the Wanderers. How do Brisbane get him into the game a little bit more?
Well, I don't think the supply line down the left-hand side. Here he goes now. Let's see what he's got.
Gifted possession by the opposition. Gave it back to Rose.
I don't think the supply line down the left has been that great, to be honest. Corey Brown hasn't been at the top of his game as far as his delivery is concerned in general.
50-50 that Tommy Orr won against Brindle South. Whips it across the face. And Gillespie used his thigh. Brought back down here for Puyol. His pass back to Rose was a poor one. And cost them possession again.
And this is the issue for Macarthur. That they cannot, even from the start, even when their passing was good to start the match, they weren't getting the ball into the penalty area with any sort of quality. And then their game has just deteriorated to the point where they're really struggling to build pressure, which they like to do, to keep the ball and move opponents around, starve them of possession and work angles. Difficult to do that if you keep turning the ball over. Brisbane back into it, overrunning them, got the goal, might have had another couple. Contest is developing nicely on the cusp of half-time.
And Warren Moon knows it. He just told his team, bit more urgency here before half-time. We're dominating this game. We've got a chance to make it 2 here. We might need to before Macarthur get instructions at half-time on how to potentially turn this thing around. South getting the hurry up. It's Gillespie. They've got an overload down this side now to try and play Champness in. Corey Brown's pass. Pretty handy, but Milligan across in time.
That's great coverage from Milligan. That was a nice effort from Corey Brown. Split the very flat defensive line for Macarthur. Milligan diffused things perfectly.
Raw are unbeaten in their past 6 games in New South Wales. 2 wins, 4 draws in this state. First ever game for them at this venue. Danzaki, just 20 years of age. Great pickup on loan from Consadole Sapporo in Japan.
What's the mail on Masato Kudo? Speedy?
We saw him start a game recently. Seen him sent back to NPL at times to get minutes into the legs, but not part of the equation tonight. So they're missing Kudo, the Japanese international, and the Socceroo McDonald. And Wenzel Halls goes down, and the referee actually gave the free kick against him. Not for diving, for a shirt pull earlier. Little tussle. 4th official about to let the fans know that there'll be 1 minute added on at the end of this first half. The attacking options off the bench for Macarthur. Millie Popovich and Lockie Rose, really. Charles Mombois for energy in midfield. So they're a bit light on. So much depends on Derbyshire, who scored 10 goals this season. The rest of his teammates have combined for 9. And in their short history, when behind at half-time, they haven't made a whole lot happen. They've tended to go on with the job if they've had their nose in front, but this time around they'll be playing catch-up in the second 45 as Brisbane have one last crack. Wenzel Hall's all alone in the middle. If Danzaki can whip one across the face, here comes Champness, and couldn't steer it home. And a 2-0 lead for Brisbane would not have flattered them if Champness had thumped this one in the top corner, Andy Harper.
The ball over the top. They've really struggled with it, Brisbane. Danzaki cuts it back beautifully. But that's a wonderful piece of defending. On the chase, Liam Rose, just when his team needed him, right before the ref blows up for half-time.
Dylan Wenzel-Halls did find the back of the net, surprising Adam Federici with the near post finish. And at half-time, it's Brisbane 1, Macarthur FC 0. Brisbane trying to close the gap to the top 6 to 2 points if they can claim the victory tonight. So Dylan Wenzel-Halls might have had a hat-trick in this game. He's converted one. Had multiple chances as well. Brisbane's number 20.